So the latest Skul update has been out for a few days now, and one of the new additions is a secret boss battle that you can do towards the end of your runs, and it is the hardest single battle in the entire game by far. At least for me, maybe some of you are still having a hard time with Yggdrasil, I don't know. Now obviously going over this fight is a massive spoiler for those who want to avoid seeing the battle itself, so I mean, why are you clicking on this otherwise? But this is your last warning. Please click away if you don't want to see what the fight actually is. For the rest of us, we're going to get in here and learn this fight from start to finish and hopefully make things a lot easier for ourselves. But first, we have to pick an upgraded inscription between Fortress and Antique. And that is because we are using a heavily defensive build, relying on a lot of items that are either giving us more max life or more defensive capability, whether that be damage taken reduction, light healing over time, or the quintessence reduction for Cyclops, which also gives us shields. We've also got the ring just for raw stats, but ultimately we are just a big wall that will take as little damage as possible while also only using Little Bone Skull, so that we can prove that even the most basic of skulls, which, you know, depending on your definition, Little Skull is actually pretty damn strong, but at the very least, you can do this without needing to be a legendary fella. Now, we also don't have any dark abilities. I'm doing this on difficulty 0. That is because the core moveset that this boss will use isn't different from 0 to 10, only the amount of damage and the raw numbers will change. So it's best to demonstrate this on 0 without any dark abilities to kind of make things more difficult. That's because dark abilities are kind of up to your interpretation, and whatever you want to take for your builds is going to be unique to you. Now, between upgraded Fortress or upgraded Antique, Fortress gives me more damage based on my amount of shield. I don't have a lot of shield in the build, despite what I've just said to you, so we're not really going to worry about this. This is definitely a shield skull type upgrade. Upgraded Antique, however, gives us more damage based on our max health, going up to 150% total damage boost, which I think caps out at 500 life, if math isn't failing me. So we're actually going to see a boost from 300% physical and magical all the way up to 418%. Not bad at all. With the build finally sorted out, let's get into the fight and start seeing what's going on. Okay, strap yourselves in, lads, because we're getting into Phase 1 of Dark Skull Boy. Now, all of this is post-commentary. Not only that, but you are going to see a lot of mistakes. That is because the purpose of this is to show you my learning strategy. This is, I want to say at the time, like the 4th or 5th time I've ever fought this guy, and it's one of the first times that I've really seen the full moveset. So the point is to show you how to learn new fights, and that is why I came in here with a full defense build with the intent to sit back and watch what he does and figure things out. Now, very quickly, you're going to realize that, you know, 90% of his attacks in Phase 1 are going to consist of either throwing bones at you, like right there, or running across the screen and trying to smack you with his club. He does have a head toss. It's very telegraphed. As long as you're keeping an eye on him, he takes his head off and spikes come out and then he throws it. Just any form of avoidance. Be in the air, be dodging, whatever. But the important thing I want you guys to take away from Phase 1 is to recognize his movement. Also, this right here, when he goes to slam into the ground, keep an eye on where he goes and dash towards him, and you'll probably go through the dark waves that come out. After that, all the little bouncing projectiles that bounce around don't really bounce on his body, so it's a great time, the best time in Phase 1 to get a lot of damage in, is get on that body while it's on the ground and hit him. But now, in regards to his club attacks, you see right there, if he backflips back, he'll rush towards you and do a combo. Now, almost all of his combo attacks can be avoided by either being in the air or simply dashing through to behind him. He does have one particular attack, and I'll try and mention it when it happens, call it out, that does hit behind him. It might be that one there. No, that one's the fast one. There is a slower one that hits behind, not that one. But the idea is, he always telegraphs when he's going to do particular attacks. He does have dashes. He does the same double dash that we have. Every time he double dashes, don't worry, he's not going to attack. But he will attack. See that right there? That's the double dash. You see how he did the backflip? He backflipped, and then he snaked along the ground. I like to think of it as two different types of movement. If he dashes, he's not hitting you. If he slithers, see he's dashing. Oh, he started slithering, you see? Uppercut me, smacked me down. I'll mention right now, the actual smackdown in the air after he uppercuts you can be dodged out of. Just because you got an uppercut doesn't mean that you can't escape. Right there, I did it right there, just to show you that you can avoid the second hit. It is not a locked-in thing. He's snaking, we avoid. Bones from the sky, every time the bones are set down, give or take about, what is it, like 7 to 8 seconds, they'll come out and start going back towards his body. It's really funny when he pairs this with his head toss. If he throws his head across the room at the same time the bones start teleporting to him or start going across the room at him, it kind of mixes you up a little bit. If you get hit by the bones, don't worry too much. That's probably the easiest thing to get hit by in the entire first phase. Right here. He lunged at me. I wasn't ready for it. I was looking to see where the bones were going to be dropping. I was going to start walking away. He'll like try to mix you up by summoning bones to come from the sky and then start doing attacks at the same time. Always be aware of when he slithers. See, I wasn't waiting. If you're concerned about sitting on his body and beating him up too much by staying close, back away. Do what I'm doing right here and stand at a distance. Wait and see what he does. Is he going to slither at me? Is he going to throw his head? Or is he going to do his big smash his body against the ground and give me a chance? Always dodge away when those 4 projectiles start coming back into his body, when the rest of his parts come back together again, because they will hit you on their return. If his head toss connects with you, he'll do that. He'll just do a big cinematic slam and hit you against the wall. Try and avoid that as best you can. Just like I said, the head toss is one of his most telegraphed attacks. Fast 1-2. That right there. That one where he rushes forward and does 1-2, and it's noticeably slower. That one will hit behind him. If you're anxious or concerned as to which of his multiple hits will hit behind him or not, stand, you know, maybe like a full body spacing away from him and wait until he's about to finish doing the attack before you go in and start hitting him. Or if you actually do, like, you know, start to recognize, because a lot of his attacks are very similar looking on purpose. If you start to recognize, see, that's the slow one. I knew. I stood back right there. That's the uppercut. Dodge out the way. I got uppercut, but I'd have to take that, dude. I'd have to take that second hit. This is his ultimate move, by the way. I'm just going to let it play out. You'll see at the end here, and wait for it. And we avoid that. So when he gets to close to half-life, he's not even quite at half yet, but when he gets very low, I'd say at around the 55 to, you know, between 50 and 55%, he glows purple. He has a ton of bones drop down from the sky, as you saw. The secret to avoiding the bones is just to keep moving. You don't have to dodge, though. It's bait. Keep walking normally, and Skul will do his normal attacks. He will dash at you and swing the club. Save your dashes for when he runs at you. Otherwise, just walk left and right. Just walk around the room, dude. The bones should miss you as long as you're actively moving and not standing still. Dodge everything he does, and then keep an eye on him, because as you'll see, just go back and take a look at if you need to see the animation again. He'll start by doing a big jump into the middle. He'll slam the ground, all the bones will spring up, and then the second jump, he'll slam the ground and cause this big dark quartz crystal explosion to cover most of the screen. You want to be jumping up in the air just after he does. Do a little double dash in the air if you've got Skul or someone who's got some extra mobility in the air, like Ninja, Gargoyle, stuff like that. Stay in the air just until the projectiles go away, or try and get behind him so that you're not in harm's way. Now, this is going to continue for a little bit. I was debating on cutting this up and just showing you specific moves, but I want to show you this fight as slow as it is, because we have no damage, by the way. As slow as it is, I wanted to show you the full thing. That way, if you need to come back and get a frame of reference, that right there. That right there. That's special. I'm going to let that stay the way that it is. He jumps in the air and throws his head at you. That's rare. I just want to say that is rare. I left that in and really wanted to point that one out. I've got a little note here. He can throw his head on the ground, but him jumping in the air and spiking it at you, I've literally only seen him do it once in Phase 1 ever, and you saw it just there. I've not seen him do it at all, or I've not noticed him do it at all. Here's the ultimate. Just keep moving. Just keep moving. Just keep moving. And you wait for him to run at you. See, just run left and right. I didn't dodge. I wasn't keeping an eye on him. Dodge. He snakes. There's the slam. There's the big spike. See that? The first little jump. Bones go up in the air. Second big jump. Slamming it. Dashing through all that. There we go. Stand here. Hit him. Hit him. Hit him. Hit him. Dash away. Get your free damage. This is the best time to get damage. If you've got a lot of big skills like concentration moves, if you've got big attacks, if you were brave enough to pop Orc, I would do it here. Once you dodge past those waves on the ground and you're standing on his body, pop Orc, go in, do all of your damage then. This entire fight from start to finish through Phase 1 and 2 is kind of a battle of patience. While you can bully him, if you've got particular skulls that just don't care about trades, like Warrior, Ant, Heracles, as we saw with my first attempt on this fight, you can bully him under certain conditions on lower difficulties. But certainly once you get to like 8 and above on dark mode, you're in for trouble. You need to be patient. You need to respect what he does. Otherwise, you will get blown up, especially in phase 2. But for now, we're still in phase 1. This big swing right here, you can just go all the way over that, under it. The bone toss still hits me quite frequently, even now, like after having recorded this and done like another run or two. The bone toss comes out very quick. He does glow a little bit, like there's kind of like a tell when he's going to throw bones. If he does it again, he should. I'll try and note it when he does it, but he does give a little tell that he's going to throw bones. I'm just never quick enough to react to it. I try and jump and thread the needle and leap in between the gaps. I don't know why I do that. I should just dash. He can't throw bones and then hit you fast enough that you can't dodge out the way. You can hit him in the air. I was demonstrating there. You can jump up and smack him in the air while he's up in the air about to do his crash. I don't recommend it necessarily because it can be a bit difficult to get away and find a safe spot to stand. If you're okay with it, you could stand directly underneath him. I recommend standing a little bit off to the side, and then what you want to do is run towards where he lands and then dodge through those dark waves that come out from the ground. He's doing all of his combos. First slam, get in the air. Second slam, doesn't matter. We're already up there. We're avoiding everything. Avoid the head toss. Start smacking him. We're getting close to phase 2. Phase 2 is definitely the scarier part. If you kind of do phase 1 enough and get used to it, you're okay. There we go. You can see there's a little bit of a tell. There's a small... He did the head toss again. I never even noticed that until now. He did it twice in this fight. That's how long we were in this first phase for. We actually got to do this really rare move twice. You can see how rare it is in that case. We're about to transition to phase 2. Before we do, or as we do, I'm going to mention a very, very important tip for learning fights in Skul specifically is if you're close to dying or you're about to die, as long as you haven't actually died, if you quit out of the game, if you just Alt F4, close application, whatever, and come back in, the game resets and defaults you to the room that you were just in. So you can, in fact, get another go and kind of cheese. It's cheesy, and I don't recommend you do it in your normal gameplay, but for learning things, fantastic. Now, phase 2 begins. I'm going to call it out and say that I'm going to start addressing this second phase as 3 different forms. The base Skul that we were fighting in phase 1, I'm going to refer to as the balance form or base form. This with the giant fist right now, this is clearly Power Skul inspired. It seems like they've modeled his forms after the different types of skulls. So this is his power form. He has big fisties, big damage. I'm going to stand still for this. This is his ult. All of the forms have an ult. If this lands on you, he will drag you across the ground, pull you into the corner, and do big damage. We'll come back to Power Skul in a bit. I'm going to move on and start talking about Speed Boy, because Speed Boy with the spear is the problem child. This is probably, for me, the hardest part of this entire fight, is dealing with this guy. Now, thankfully, they did see fit to give him a tell whenever he's about to do an attack. If you look at his body, he flashes red with a little red, you know, shiny before he does anything. This one right here, I got hit by that. It'll be the only time I get hit by that. It's a very simple move to evade as soon as you figure out what to do. But see, he glows red right before he comes out. He disappears, and then he has to flash. Get out of the way. Now, the thing that I'm going to start doing in this fight, because we've got plenty of time for me to talk about it, is whenever he disappears, I start jumping into the air to try and avoid... There we go. Whenever he does that, I'm going to quickly mention this. Whenever he does that, as soon as he flashes red and he's about to spike the spear, dodge out the way to the side, and then he's going to land, and you can actually dodge out the way and do a jump and land, and you have so much time to get airborne before that full row of spikes comes down that you can then jump up again, do a double jump, and then stay airborne, and you can avoid the spikes as long as you've got a double jump. I don't know if Power Skulls are going to have an easy or a hard time with avoiding that particular attack, but it's a bit of an ache. We're back in Power Boy mode, so I'll quickly say, for this slam attack right here, do as I'm doing. You just jump and avoid the big slammies, get away from all this stuff. He is the easiest of the 3 for me to deal with personally. You can see me taunting him. I want him to come closer. All of his big punches and all of his attacks, I find that standing next to him, dodge it. See that? The big meteor? You can dodge it. The game literally slows down time temporarily and gives you a second to dodge. You want to just sit there with your finger on the button, and as soon as time freezes, mash your dodge button. I don't even know if you can parry it. If you could parry it with, like, Spartacus or whatever, that'd be pretty sick, to be honest, but whatever you've got, even Slime, use Slime Quintessence. Avoid it that way, but dodging it isn't as bad as it seems. It's actually quite doable. It's mostly the catching you by surprise effect. Here we go. Wait. Double jump up, get in the air, avoid it. Simple. He's gonna... Yep, he appears. That spin right there, where he does the little... The wheel, where he flips his spear around. That is the worst attack to try and avoid that he's got for me right now. It still clips me quite often. Get in the air, avoid the first by jumping away, avoid the second by doing a dash. That's kind of my strategy. I jumped to avoid the first, and I dodged to get rid of the second. Jump to avoid the first. He's comboing me now. That's a 3-hit combo he's trying to do right there, but it was slow. Dodge out the way. Wait. Double jump in the air. Avoid it. Simple. Done like that. There's the... Yep. That right there. He does have a particular combo where he'll do a 1-2, and then what you have to do is just be very aware. If you see that red line sizing you up, he's going to throw that spear, and you've got to dodge it at just the right time. You'll get the timing down. It's an automatic timing. Once you've had it happen to you once or twice before, you'll understand when to dodge. But if it hits you, you'll get comboed, a bit like the head toss from Basic Boy over here, and it will do a lot of damage. If you saw my my last video, my second run ever with Arthur, no, my first run with King Arthur, you saw what that attack does. But the basic balance version of Skul is mostly the same. Whenever he finishes doing his funny ribcage attack where he throws himself on the ground, he will transform afterwards. You don't get a chance to stand there and do stuff. I recommend moving away if you're not confident, because you'll need to see what he turns into, and he's gone back to Power Boy mode. The horns. If he starts rampaging across the screen with big horns, you need to lead him into a wall. It'll preemptively stop his attack. Normally he does 1, 2, even 3 times he'll charge at you. If he hits a wall, he'll break a few rocks out, but it will stop him. This multiple slamming, by the way, stay in. You want to be, like, off the ground, but underneath him for all of the explosions around the area, and then very quickly move out the way before the big slam hits. That ultimate attack, I can avoid it every time now. Whenever he swaps into Spear Boy, he does a dash, and there's red slices that come out afterwards, a bit like Samurai. Avoid those. In the air for the first, dodge for the second. In the air for the first, dodge for the second. He missed anyway. He was way off the mark. He'll still connect with me sometimes. Ooh, that was close. That was almost just bad luck and bad spacing. Dodge out the way. I can land and then get a full double jump afterwards. It is a bit delayed. Yeah, the hard part is when he does the wheel. Oh, that full combo hit me right there. When he just appears next to you and swings the spear in an arc, that's the one that still clips me a lot. That right there, we barely got away from that. But when he appears at a distance and tries to spear at me and tries to do a dash, I can normally avoid it, I want to say maybe like 80% of the time, just by jumping into the air and moving either away, even sometimes towards. You just have to get the timing down. Jump the first and then dodge the second. Dodge out the way, delay, jump, double dodge. Once again, Power Skulls might have a hard time. This right here, when he starts rapidly teleporting around the screen and you see a lot of little red particles, he's about to do a 3-hit combo. The first 2, you have to avoid it the normal way, but there will always be 1, 2, 3. There we go, bam. The tackle got me. I didn't quite lead him into a wall in time. You want a game to hit the wall. Power Boy, stay close. He does these big fisties. You can just go left, right, left, right, left, right all day. He hit a wall. He got stopped. Go hit him a little bit. Big fisties. Stay on his other side. Now he's doing the slammies. It's fine. But the spear move, like I said, he'll do a 3-hit combo string, and at the end of that third one, after he's done the lots and lots of red on the screen, he'll try and impale you by throwing the spear. The Spear Boy is definitely the toughest one out of all of them for me, and all of the red particles on the screen, by the way, are bait. It's just there to distract you and act as clutter. It can show you like the trajectory that he's moving around in, but I find it easier just to react to him appearing on screen and then jumping and dodging at the right timings. But it is kind of like a tell. It's meant to be there to help you, but for me personally, if I try and focus on that too hard, I get more confused than it helps me, so I try and not worry too much about it. Once again, little basic Skul Boy, pretty much exactly the same as the first phase, only the main difference is he's a bit more aggressive, at least I think he is in this. He definitely likes to do his attacks more frequently, and throws his head more frequently in the second phase of the fight. Same deal, I'm not going in because I know he's going to swap, and if he swaps into, Spear Boy, I'm going to get impaled straight away. There we go. But if he swaps into Power Boy, he'll just start jumping and slamming the ground, and it's just risky. I just don't like to stand too close. If you've got an invincible move, go for it. Otherwise, just try and move away. I'm just going to fight Spear Boy the way I have been. Jump the first dive, if I can, and then dash afterwards. Avoid this by moving to the side, and then jumping and getting away from the spikes. That water wheel. The way to avoid the flippy wheel is to dodge immediately, which is the only real, like bad link in my armor right now, is I can jump the first attack and dodge the second for like most of his attacks, except for when he appears and he does the spin. If he appears on you and does the spin, you need to be dodging. You need to be dodging immediately. So it's kind of like a 50-50 for me, at least. If I dodge the first attack, I might get hit by the follow-up. Oh, he's doing it again. This is the big 3 hits. So 1, 2, and then he's going to try and impale me. If you go back and see, he just does rapid, chew, 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 chew. He's going around the screen. When basic Skull swaps in, he will specifically go out of his way to spin and do a cool swap. This is the ultimate, right? This is little basic boy's ultimate set that he goes into. He summons the bone fragments, and then Spear Boy comes out and does a bunch of combo strings. Power Boy comes out and does his fist combos, and then he goes into this ultimate attack, and then he swaps back out into basic boy again. It's a full mega ultimate. This is his strongest attack that he can do, where he goes through everyone's ultimates, followed by the rib cage destruction thing that he's doing here, followed by a swap at the end. It's insane. He does everything. So just to recap, while Spear Boy is doing what he does, Balance Boy initiates by summoning all the bones to drop from the sky. While he's doing that, Spear Boy is stabbing around. Keep an eye on the spear. You want to just deal with the spear guy the same way that you deal with him, like I am right now, the way that you normally deal with him, and just run left and right and avoid the bones to the best of your ability, right? If you get tagged, don't worry, dude. 99.999% of everyone else did as well. After he does all of this, Power Boy, he's going to appear, he's going to cause explosions around the room, and then that big slam. Try and get under him in the air and avoid the initial explosion, and then dodge out immediately so the actual slam doesn't hit you. And then for the big meteor, you know, Radan, haha, slam, dodge at the last second, and you'll be okay. But as soon as you dodge that, be ready, because Balance Boy is going to do his Dark Quartz Slam straight away. I think the next time they do this in this fight, I actually get hit by the Quartz Slam, because it happens much faster than you think. Much faster than I thought. He's swapping out. Why can't Skull get that swap? I want that swap. I really want this dark form of Skull. I don't need the spear and the Power Boy ones if you really don't want to give it to me, but can I get this version of Skull where he's got the swap that just is like a giant windmill that hits 90% of the screen? It's sick. I want it. Head toss, avoid. Aerial head toss, he got me. I was not expecting it. You got to keep that in mind. He does air head toss a lot more. Here's the explosion, dodge through the purple, sit on his body, get some damage in, avoid. I'm going to stay away because I don't like the swap. Spear Boy comes after me. Avoid all that. I'm getting ready. Oh, I got too anxious. I thought he was doing his attack faster. I thought it was the triple. In the air, dodge, too slow. Got to be faster. In the air, dodge. The beam across the ground is much easier to avoid than almost every other attack that he's got. You have to be, like, maybe on a power skull and just be unfortunately in the wrong spot to get hit by the beam. But normally, if you're ready for it, like that right there, you can avoid it. It's probably the easiest to avoid of all of his moves. Once again, too slow. All of that got me. I should have been jumping a little bit earlier. I chose to dodge that time. Thankfully, the follow-up was a beam, so I could get around it. Tried to slash at me. Dive, stab. Once again, man, you'll find a groove right there. Once you've got your groove and you kind of figure out and get the rhythm down, it's okay. But the hard part about this fight, deliberately, is you're fighting 3 different forms of him, so they're trying to throw you off your groove on purpose. You just have to kind of, like, adjust your rhythm. When he's in Spear Boy mode, you gotta go fast. You gotta match his speed. When he's in Power Boy mode, you've also got to be pretty fast, but not as fast. Ultimate time. Avoid the bones. Keep your eye on Spear Dude. I'm trying my best, but it's tough. Same logic as normally avoiding this. Ignore the bones for now. The bones aren't even a problem just yet. They're there as bait. You're just avoiding these ultimates like you normally would. Only right at the end there's an issue. I think I get hit here on purpose. Oh yeah, we're slowing it down. He lands on you. He drags you to the corner. Power Boy flings you into the wall. He goes into Spear Boy mode, knocks you into the air. Balance Boy uppercuts you. Power Boy slams you into the ground. It is an ultimate attack that utilizes every single form doing a unique thing. It's absolutely sick. After all is said and done, he returns to basic Balance Boy and does his Quartz Slam. I didn't get hit by it like I thought I would. Props to me. It's such a... I had to slow it down there. It's such a sick attack, right? Like, that is an awesome ultimate. He's full comboing you with all of his goodness. It's phenomenal. Shoutouts to Southpaw for making an awesome fight. Once again, he's doing... lead him into the wall. Don't go to the right, alright? What I just did there, I led him into the wall, but then I pulled away and I got hit by rocks. If you just stay against the wall... As you can see, the rocks come out and go away, but if you stay with your body right up against the wall, you'll avoid those rocks. Once again, he's punching, dude. These explosions, it's a non-entity. If you get hit by a punch, you'll get stunned. You've seen me get stunned a couple of times already. With this, you can kind of just walk away from the fists. See that? I stayed under him, and then I avoided the big slam at the end. With the explosions, it's a non-entity. The stun is annoying, but dodge. If you get stunned, you're in for a world of hurt because you might get hit by stuff. Just mash dodge. Get out of that stun. Get out of the way. Don't get hit by the next follow-up. But honestly, the big punches from the power version is something that can be more easily managed and more easily evaded. It's everything else that happens in this fight that's probably the bigger threat to you. This right here, I know I got sloppy at this point in the fight because it had already been going on for more than, like, what, 20 minutes at this point? It's a very long fight because I have no damage, and I'm deliberately doing it to try and learn and teach and see the fight in slow motion kind of thing. And I start just not paying attention to some of the effects on the screen, like some of the bones, some of the extra pieces. There we go, he swaps into Speed Boy. You can punish that if you're quick. Oh, he's doing a lot of stuff. He's doing, yeah, he's trying to do a lot of stuff right there. He's trying to confuse me. Avoid in the air and then get away. Whenever he spikes the ground, it's kind of a good chance to get away with doing a skill if you've got a long-reaching one. Like if you've got, say, Hunter, or if you're using someone who's got a really wide-reaching move, like Berserker with his big slams and stuff. You can hit him while he's got the spears on the ground. Same with this. If you've got a nice dropping out of the air attack, do that while you're on in the air coming down onto his spikes. Damn, he just does so much, man. Get in the air. I was too slow. If I'd been in the air earlier, I could have avoided that flip that he did with the spear. There's also something to be said for experimenting with going towards him. So, for example, when he appears on the ground and he dashes vertically across the screen... No, horizontally across the screen. I'm an idiot. When he goes horizontally across the screen, jump up, but towards where he is so he goes under you. That way when he flings the spear, like, up to try and clip you out of the air, he misses. It's very similar... Right there, he did it again. It's very similar to the spear guys, the Carleon spear guys in Act 2, if you know that they do the big huh, and they swing and hit you out of the air. It's the same principle. Just don't be there, and if you're gonna be there, either be ready to dodge or just don't antagonize it. So jump up and away, like up and towards where he is, so that you're not where he lands. Big ultimate coming in. Avoid the explosion. I got clipped for like 1 damage there by something. The rocks might touch you as they're bouncing around. The rocks are honestly something that you're just gonna have to deal with. There's where I got hit by the slam. Believe it or not, I saw that I got burned for 1 damage by fire, and I thought, ow, I don't want to get hit by fire, and I think I wasted my dodge, and then I got clipped by the slam. Here's where I'm just getting hit by stuff. At this point, I'm like, damn, dude, I've seen this fight a lot. I'm kind of over it now. I need to get out of here. I need to be done with this battle. Obviously, if you're doing a real run, oh, that's just bad luck. Don't do that. Don't get into that situation. That's why I'm trying to stay centered. Throughout the entirety of me fighting the Spear Boy, I recommend staying in the middle of the room so that you can react to anything he does and have options to move left and right to get away from spikes on the ground or to deal with him trying to zip across the room and clip you. For the Power Boy, I actually recommend being on top of him and leading him to a corner so that when he does his horns, he hits a wall and gets done in. For the balanced version of him, just fight him. Just fight him. If you can do phase 1, you already know what to do. Just do it again. Do the same thing. And then get ready for when he swaps into his other forms. The only difference is after he does his big explosion move, just move away so that when he swaps into one of his other states, you're not too close and get hit by some nonsense with his swaps. You did the big 3, avoid the first, the second, and then the third. He always has that 3 hit when he starts going blah, 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 and he covers the screen in red, swaps into basic Skull Boy, dodge through his swap. You can just, that's why I like to move to the very opposite part of the room whenever he's about to swap into someone else. If it's Power Boy, so be it. If it's Basic Skull, surprisingly enough, Basic Skull comes out pretty quick, dude, so I like to be on the other side of the room to avoid that spin. I don't want to get hit by the Beyblade. That's a big Beyblade, dude. And I think we're coming up close to the end of the fight. Once again, give it some practice. If you die, reset, go in with a big defensive build, go on difficulty 0 just to learn what the moveset is, and you'll figure it out. Other than that, this has been my very, 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 very rough attempt at learning the fight. This was all done on the fly. This is just me learning the way that I do. I didn't really expect to upload this, but I went back and kind of did this all in post to try and showcase what I do when I want to learn a new fight. This is what I do. This is me in the lab, you know, fighting game terminology all over again. Go in, practice, get hit, and then think to yourself, what do I do to make sure I don't get hit there? And you go back and you do it again and again and again. I guarantee you in my future runs in Dark Mode 10, I'm still going to get bullied by this guy and I'm still going to suffer. But the ideas are there. The knowledge is there. I just need to learn to apply them and react accordingly to whenever he does his nasty nonsense. He is meant to be the hardest fight in the game on purpose. There's a statue back at the Dark Mirror hub to commemorate the highest difficulty you beat him on. They know, you know, I know, this man is meant to be tough. But hopefully this video can stay here as a place where you can come back and watch his moveset and go over what he can do again if you're having a bit of trouble, and maybe put together a better strategy based on whatever skull you're using, whatever build you're using, and obviously with more damage than what I've got right now. Put this guy out of his out of the fight before it gets to the point where it's over 25 minutes long. But with all of that said and done, I gotta get out of here. I hope you guys have enjoyed, and I will see you all next time. Have a good one.